All right. Thought I'd do a little revisit to one of my favorite periods of the Strokes on this one, and the time I went to see them play at Rockness in Scotland. There's something about this period of the Strokes that I really like. I think the last tour they did before this was like 2006. I don't remember any gigs they played in like '07, '08, '09. Sure, people will correct me on that if I'm wrong. But this period, 2010, I think Julian had just finished his solo tour. And I think people were gagging for the Strokes. People didn't really know. People didn't really know what was going on with the Strokes and if they were like a thing still at that point. I think they'd all kind of dipped the toes into the solo thing at that point. Apart from maybe Nick, who I seem to remember was doing some type of photography maybe or something, or just chilling out. Don't know. But anyway, I remember Julian saying before or after these festival slots in 2010 that basically they couldn't resist the money. That was the reason they came to do them. And at that point they had the three albums, so it was basically like a hit parade. And because it felt like such a rarity to see the Strokes at that point, it was just pretty amazing. And to set the context a bit more, it was during the 2010 World Cup. I remember working at a bar in Hull the night before. So the whole idea to go to Rockness came about from Tom from the Paddingtons, who he's obviously got the contacts, he's in the know, and he was able to sort some tickets out for. Well, I won't be humble. We got on the Strokes guest list. It's one of the coolest things I've ever done. So I'm not going to start being humble at this point. But it was all thanks to Tom and his contacts. So yeah, we jumped at the chance to drive up there, and we decided to drive up there on the Saturday night. But basically, yeah, it's 2010 World Cup. England had played America on the Saturday night. I think it was it a draw? I better check the result, am I? Pretty sure it was a draw. Yeah, it was a 1-1 draw. So yeah, a few of us went in the Paddington's van. Actually, I think it was a splitter van. We set off at something stupid like 10 p.m. that night, and the driver Paul. I don't know what he did for sleep. On reflection, I have no idea. The rest of us like having a few drinks and that in the back and getting some sleep somehow. But yeah, we powered through, made it all the way to Scotland, right up to Inverness, which is balmy. Then yeah, got into the festival. I think Blondie was playing. Should we have a look at the lineup? Who have we got here then? We went on the Sunday. Definitely remember Blondie. I think I remember Vampire Weekend. Don't remember Doves. Remember the Maccabees, maybe? Can't even remember the other stages. Hadouken. Well, that's an absolute throwback. Didn't know they were still going in 2010. Too many DJs. I feel like we might have ended up there, which would have been good. Good way to cap off the night, possibly. And then the rest of the festival, it's quite dancey, in it. So yeah, they put on a bit of a guitar day on a Sunday, which is obviously what we went for. So yeah, let's watch a video anyway. This is the video on YouTube. It's not the full set. I think it's about 4 songs, but yeah, it's a pretty good video from what I remember. So let's have a look. Love the way someone's definitely made this on iMovie, which is because that's what I do. But you can tell with this, so I don't know where they recorded it from originally. To be fair, maybe it was streamed or something. I think streaming of a festival started at that time, didn't it? So anyway, the opening to walk-on song is "We Will Rock You," which is quite enjoying. Fully going for it. I do remember this big wheel here because I think we were like towards the left of the stage as you look at it. But it's a great place to watch it. Look at this. I mean, it's all very blurred. It's got this little race hill bit. Pretty ideal venue. There's Nick Valencia with a bottle of something. So yeah, I think what Albert's playing there, the reference to that is playing a bit of the American national anthem, because obviously USA took points off England at the World Cup, and playing in Scotland, they probably knew that the crowd was going to enjoy that. So yeah, a little context there. But yeah, spoiler alert, the open with New York City Cops, which was just very cool at that point. It's more of a song they played towards the end before this, but it's like they were just going for it at this point. No holds barred kind of performance. Julian not on stage yet, about to make his appearance. There is the main man. He's been coming under fire a bit recently, hasn't he? I was thinking about doing a video on his politics or his decision not to vote in the American election, but then I thought it's not really my strong suit, politics, but I'm sure you can have your say in the comments. I'll just go to Reddit where he's been getting absolutely crucified, or even the comments on the Instagram that he's left. It's quite an interesting reading. I'll leave it at that. Just like to point out that the video skipped there. It's not my poor editing or anything. Cheers. For me, around this time is probably Julian's peak aesthetic, if we're being a bit material about things. But his solo album, or his first solo album, I always thought that was kind of the coolest aesthetic that he had, and he's kind of it's like the hangover from that at this point, I think, if you like. I also think this was definitely his sober period. I don't know if that is relevant or adds to any context, but there we go. Keep stopping it. Keep interrupting the flow. But it's just mad to think this was only 9 years after his visit at most. And yet now we're 23 years beyond his visit. Oh dear. I always thought that was cool, like Nick using some artistic license on that solo there to add a bit of difference. I always liked that. Like I remember Jack White making that point about the White Stripes, is that they wanted the live shows to be different to the records. Whereas I guess some people want to hear as close to the record as possible at a live show. I don't know, but I always liked it when things got changed up, and the Strokes are pretty good at doing that. Julian's quite good at changing up the melodies, as I'm sure he might do in the remainder of this video. I can't imagine ever having the courage to risk a jacket. Well, even a leather jacket for me is would be pretty ambitious for some reason. But to have one with like these press studs on, I mean, fair play to him. He's Julian Casablancas. Don't think your average bloke in the street is going to be pulling that off. What's that? Is that a lightsaber? Scottish crowds, bloody balmy, aren't they? So straight into modern age. We'll have a look at the set list afterwards, because obviously this is just a snip of the set itself. Like you get the vibe that they're definitely enjoying being back at this point. It's like they haven't done it for a while after absolutely hammering it for like those 5 years from 2001 onwards. So yeah, I mean that's another reason why it makes it such a good gig to watch, I think. It's because they're genuinely enjoying it. Where, don't know, you get the vibe. Now they do hammer festivals a lot now, you see. So it's not as like a not so much of a rare thing now, is it? But at this point I think this might have been one of the first returning shows at this point. Hence why we drove all the way to Scotland and back for it. So
Up on the hill is where we begin. This little story, long time ago. Stop to pretend, stop pretending. It seems this game is simply never ending.
I mean, obvious point to make, but how ace must it be to get paid an irresistible sum of money to come back and play at this festival where you haven't played these songs for a long time in front of a crowd and people are going berserk. Anyway, obvious point Claxon there, but you know, just I'm just saying what I'm seeing. Very catchphrase.
Oh, when the sun's on having fun, it's in my blood. I just can't help it.
This might have been the period where they did that venison thing at Dingwalls, like the secret show. I might just check those dates out actually. Oh, hell. Yeah, that was in 2000. Yeah, that was in 2010, just before this. I mean, wow. I am very envious of anyone that went to that because that is ridiculous. As I mentioned in other videos, like I fell for the Strokes hoax at Dingwalls around 8 years after this, and it obviously didn't happen. But to see them in a small venue at this point playing this set list, daft.
Don't want you here right now, let me go. Ooh, oh, darling, let me the fuck go. Leaving distant time, stay there for a while, rolling in the ocean, trying to catch a high, work hard and make it. I do it just to please me.
There we go. That's an example of one of the changed up melodies Julian threw in there. Yeah, I remember really enjoying that at the time, and still do, to be honest. Let's have an action replay of that.
Catch a high, work hard and make it. I do it just to please me.
Lovely stuff.
Tomorrow a bit different. Don't pretend I'm leaving.
I always thought this was probably Nick Valenci's best solo, just in terms of like blowing the audience away type thing. Like seeing him do it on TV was hilarious in some ways, just because of how impressive it looked, and probably no differently here.
Flying overseas, too many varieties.
Using a bit of ellipsis here as well, isn't he, Julian? Just dropping a few lines here and there, but it adds to the unique performance, maybe.
Yeah, the sun's on, having fun. It's in my blood. I just can't help it.
Loving that from Albert. A little shoulder movements there. Draw.
I just can't help it.
Oh yeah.
Don't want you here
He's feeling it there, and he got to watch it one more time.
It's in my blood. I just can't help it. Don't want you here right now. Let me go. Ooh, oh, darling, let me go. Leaving this in time. Stay for a while.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that's my favorite ever performance of the modern age, or definitely this era. Those change ups in the melody from Julian are just, yeah, properly the icing on the cake.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. You guys, man, you guys. Forgot how freaking rad you guys are, man. You're welcome.
Get another reference there to America taking points off England and the Scottish fans loving it. Not to mansplain anything, but just saying.
Yeah, thanks for welcome for taking 2 points from England, I guess, right? You guys are psyched about that?
Turns out I didn't need to say it. Julian just said it for me.
USA, USA. All right. Reptilia. All right.
From what I remember, as well as more interactions from Julian, I think one person had a flare in the crowd, which obviously you see a lot now at festivals and stuff, but you didn't really see it too much back then, from what I remember. But yeah, a guy had a flare, and Julian just said, "Nice flame, brah," which me and my mates referenced quite a lot to each other from that moment onwards, really. So yeah. Yeah, because that drum left it slightly too long there, but that drum skin is very first impressions of Earth, isn't it? Unless I'm mistaken. And obviously, this is just pre-Angles. I think they must have recorded the album at this point, but Angles came out the year after, so kind of branding and stuff was still previous Strokes at this point. Ooh.
He seemed impressed by the way you came in. Tell us.
I just wanted to say again, I think, as I mentioned with the Interpol video that I did, I'm pretty sure it's Ed Warren who's been on the podcast. I'm pretty sure he did this setup with the lighting, which is pretty iconic. I remember it being quite striking from that period. Kind of like remember it quite well with the arrows and stuff. So yeah, worth noting. If Ed again, if you're watching this like he did with the Interpol video, any input on that would be great.
Story, I know you're not boring. I was afraid that you would not insist. You sound so sleepy. Just take me, now leave me. I said, please don't slow me down. I'm going too fast. You're in a strange part of our town.
I mean, Julian's vocals are very on point here, aren't they? Like the fact he's doing it with some meaning, you can tell. Like I said before, they can tell they're really into this gig, so it adds that extra bit of edge to it. Look at Albert's fingers. I mean, Nick's probably seen as like the more intricate guitarist to the Strokes. But like, listen to that solo, and like Albert's fingers are all over the shot there. Not even look, not even bloody looking. Ridiculous. Just another way of describing this kind of era as well. It's like, without going too over the top, it is almost like the king's returning to the throne at this point, and it's like, oh yeah, we've been away for a bit. We've let other we've let other people have a bash at it, but yeah, we still got it all right.
Every time that I look at myself, I thought I told you this one is not for you. The room is on fire and she's fixing her hair. You sound so angry.
There he is, doing his thing, Nikolai. Steady away. Right, so that's the end of the video, but let's have a quick look at the set list to see what we missed out on there. So yeah, opening intro, We Will Rock You. Enjoyed that. So we saw the first two there, New York City Cops, Modern Age. Hard to explain, that'd have been great to see. And we saw Reptilia, whatever. I mean, all these songs would have been so good to see. I mean, I was there. I don't know why I'm acting like I missed out, but to see it on there, see it again on video would have been pretty great. I mean, this set list is just excellent, isn't it? Well, whatever happened, YOLO, Soma, Vision Division, underrated song from First Impressions, I think. I really liked that one when it came out. I Can't Win. Is This It? Remember they were playing, I think they played Reading and Leeds the year after, and they opened with Is This It, which is, it's obviously going to be a great way to open, especially when you've been away for 10 years. It was like the 10-year anniversary, I suppose, at that point of Is This It? Someday, Red Light, and Last Night. I mean, if you say, I don't remember this, but Julian says that Julian sang a few lines of Tom Petty's American Girl, which is pretty funny and pretty cool, to be fair. I mean, a lot of people, I think some Strokes detractors, let's say, want to have a dig at Last Night and say it's just a rip-off of American Girl. So to do that's pretty funny. For the record, it's not, I don't think it is a rip-off. It's just some songs, it's like that fine line, isn't it, between rip-off or actually doing something cool with a bit of influence. And I think it fell into the latter part of that. Then Encore. I remember around this time as well, they made a point of saying that they didn't really do encores. I think this was the first time they started doing encores, maybe. That could be total nonsense. But I think I remember Julian referencing that. So they did Juice Box, Under Control, where Julian sang a couple of lines from the Bangles' Eternal Flame. Oh, God, there's got to be a full record of this gig somewhere. Heart in a Cage, and then the classic Take It, Leave It. 17 songs. And I mean, don't get much better than that for set list, does it? I'm sure some people argue like the first, they'd probably get a better set list after Room on Fire came out type thing with a combination of the first two albums. But yeah, it's pretty ideal as Stroke's set list goes. The annoying thing is as well, because there is an existing video, there definitely will be the full gig somewhere. But maybe it's just not on the internet. But maybe it'll appear at some point, hopefully. So I've managed to find Take It or Leave It. I don't know if I'm overdoing it at this point, but while we're here, be rude not to watch it, wouldn't it?
Thank you so much from all of us, man. We love it. We love you guys. We love it here. It's always the best fucking time. I'm not saying that you guys are the best. It's shit. And yeah, man, have fun in the tents wherever. Us Yanks, I don't know. I wonder. We never went to a festival, so I don't know what goes on in those tents.
Is that a laser pen? Crazy crowd.
I can only imagine. Okay, laser pointer man. That's my cue.
Laser pointer man. Is that Should we guess at what that is then? Is that someone saying you're coming to the end of your set? Do you reckon it's actually someone official doing that? Wonder. Something about those guitars there doesn't sound great, does it? I don't know if it's the recording. Slightly out of tune. I don't. Nitpicking, sure. Is it because his strings broken here on Nick's guitar? Is that something to do with a weird sound? I don't know. What's going on there? Nick stopped playing at that point, maybe. Realise it sounds a bit weird, maybe. I mean, I'm not one to not knock the Strokes, but that is probably the worst I've ever heard. The sound, maybe, which is quite a funny note to finish on. And that's all she wrote for that one. So yeah, what do you make of that? Am I talking nonsense when I say it's one of the best periods of the Strokes, one of the best times to revisit? I'm not sure why. I just feel like I'd rather watch a gig from that era from the Strokes rather than anything else. I think maybe because obviously hammered the early kind of videos, live shows, so it's a bit more of a rarity to see those shows from 2010. But yeah, if you were going to go back and watch any gig of the Strokes or any era, which would it be for you and why? Have your say in those comments.